Hello, everybody. This is Mick McCart, and welcome back to another episode of Journal of an Independent Author. As promised, I thought I'd deliver some more information to you that might be really helpful. So, today I'm going to talk about how to publish through Amazon or the KDP program. It's Kindle Direct Publishing, but it's not always, electronic publishing for ebooks. It is, but I mean, you do your print through there too. So it's very handy. I use it. I've used other ones, but today I'm going to focus on this one because I think it's so important. And this episode is basically mostly towards your newer authors who are really looking for how do I even begin? What's step one? Or I just want to put out a book. Maybe I want to get 20 copies printed. Maybe I want 10,000 printed. KDP is a great way to go. It's easy, simple to use. At most, I'd say if you're just a writer who's using Microsoft Word and you want to get a book published, I'd get together, find a local graphic designer. They're everywhere. You can find them in your local colleges looking for work, and all they'll do is turn your Microsoft Word project into the PDFs that KDP requires for you to have. That's the biggest obstacle, I'd say. I'm a graphic designer, so I do it all myself, so it's really no big deal to me, but it is a big deal if you don't have some kind of designer or somebody who can set up the dimensions of your book the way you need them to be for them to print. So that's the big hassle. So get yourself a designer, somebody knows a designer. Other than that, you're good. So back in the day, I was working with Outskirts Press, and I decided, no, you know what, I can do all this myself. So I went to Lightning Source, published some books through there. Then I switched over to Amazon KDP, which was called Create Space back in the day. But yeah, so but I've stuck with it ever since, and I've really enjoyed it. They've never really given me that much of a hassle. They're hard to get a hold of if you do have a problem, but when you do get a hold of them, they usually work with you pretty good. So no complaints. Okay, now the first thing you do is you go to kdp.com. There'll be an option on there to create a new book. So click on that, go through that. We're going to go step by step through this, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. After you got your PDFs for your cover and your interior. So, okay, first step. The first option they're going to make you select is language. So you click on the language of most people probably English. I don't know who's watching. This could be anywhere from all over the world, but whatever. Select your language. 2, write your book title and your subtitle. So pretty simple. Third question is they'll say, is this a series? And if you're going to make a series of books, I'd put yes. It's part of one. And the way it organizes it later as you work with this, it'll come in handy in the future. So series is important. Then fourth question will be edition number. When you're on the website, you'll see edition number. It's an optional thing. If you're like republishing a book and you've made a lot of changes to it, that's important. So then it'll ask you author name. Of course, whatever name you want. If you choose to have another name, that's fine. You can go by a pseudonym, and you can use your real name, whatever, so whatever you want to go with. Then it'll ask you contributors. Now, contributors can be, this is people beyond you that have helped with your book. Yeah, artists, photographers. You might want to mention editors, whatever. It's up to you. I usually don't. I usually give them all credit in the book, so it makes it simple. The next part is you got to be ready for this, is description of the book. So you want to type out maybe a paragraph or two describing the book. Now this is going to be the thing that people, when they click on the book on Amazon, it'll give them the description. Of course, there's 2 ways to sell. You're going to be selling through Amazon, where people will buy printed copies of your book because you're printing through Amazon, so that gives you the luxury of having your books on Amazon, which is very handy. And we can get more into that later, but do the books, description, and you Write that all out. When people click on it, they'll go, oh, I wonder what this book is about. Boom, there's your description that you just wrote on here. Now that'll be everywhere, all over the internet. So make it a good one. Really sum it up, but make it quick. People don't want to read like 6 paragraphs. So, they don't want to read a story right there. They're just thinking about buying a book. So keep it short. Okay, the next one is publishing rights. They'll ask you about publishing rights. Is this the book you own? So yes, uh, and there's the option for public domain. I don't monkey with it because it's like I don't work like that. I don't work in the public domain stuff. I create everything myself. Primary audience is the next question. They'll ask you that. So it'll give you the age range, things like that. And that's good because it helps them distribute your books to the market they think works best for you. And the primary marketplace. What part of the world is this going to be primary at? I'm in the United States, so my books, I put United States, but you can choose the UK, Brazil, stuff like that. Yeah, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Then it'll be categories. Now, categories is this a fantasy book? Is this a biography? Is this, whatever? And it'll let you do many different versions of that, because sometimes they cross, like my books tend to be comedy and fantasy, so it'll let me choose comedy or humor and fantasy. And then the next one, of course, it's self-explanatory, is keywords. Because keywords are so important. You want people to be able to find your book. Because even when they're on Amazon, there's a cajillion products to look at. So if they type in a keyword, this is what will help bring your book up. Publication date, of course, if you're getting it made, you want to say, okay, in a month from now or 2 weeks from now, I'm going to get this uploaded. I need another week to do a little social media promotion. Hey, this book's coming. And when its publishing date arrives, that's when it gets published. So, and the release date. So that's part of that too. They'll ask you about that. Now, it'll go to another page. On this other page, the first thing they ask you is your ISBN, your International Standard Book Number. I myself buy my own through Bowkers.com. I buy a group of them and I just apply them to my books. But you don't have to do that. If you are worried about, well, man, I don't want to go through that whole process, there's an option on here where Amazon will assign you an ISBN, which is really handy for first-time authors, and I recommend it. Print options. Okay, now you're getting into it. Okay, now it'll ask you, what's your book size? Is it 6 by 9? Is it 8.5 by 11? What color paper do you want? Is it tannish, light beige, or whatever? You want white. I recommend white paper. It's highest contrast, easy to read. As a designer, I know what, people like to have that. They like to, see my notes. But, yeah, so I always pick white. I like high contrast. Does it have a bleed? What is a bleed? Okay, your book probably won't have a bleed for the most part, but your cover might. You don't really want to have a book cover that doesn't bleed. And by bleed, I mean you got a sheet of paper, and when you print something, I'll show you here. If you want your book cover here to go all the way to the edge, it's called a bleed. So they print it beyond the book and then they cut it. They cut your bleed off. So that's basically what a bleed is. And you always want your book covers to bleed. So that's why you need a graphic designer, because they can set up the file to bleed properly. You can't just upload it in Microsoft Word. You can if you know what you're doing. But from this video right here and right now, I'm basically discussing the very basics for people who's like, I'm an author, I just want to upload a book and sell it. So we don't have to get into the technical nitty-gritty. You don't have to know it. Just, like I said, get yourself a quick designer, whatever they charge is probably not all that much. Depending on the book. If you've got a book that thick, they might, okay, might have to charge you a little more, but it's minimal. Okay, then it's going to ask you to upload your manuscript, the interior. So you're going to upload that. It's going to say, hey, it'll grab the PDF, or you upload the PDF, get that uploaded. Then the next one is the cover. The cover will do the same thing. And it will, from there, it'll say, hey, you need to proof this. So once it's uploaded to KDP, it will give you a, sorry, I don't mean to put my hands up in front of the camera. Ooh. So you upload it, it'll say, here's a proof. Now, when you look at the proof, it will tell you, hey, this isn't working, or yes, it fits all our guidelines. Don't even worry about it. But flip through every page, bum, 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 bum. As you go through it, doing the proof, it'll give you all your pages laid out, just like it'll appear, like it's being printed. And if everything looks good, just hit I approve of it. It'll also ask you if there's any AI generated content. So put yes or no. I mean, I don't have any, so I just put no. Okay. Then the next page, it'll ask you territories, which, and that's kind of like it did earlier. Where did I say about that? But where it's going to be released, mostly in the U.S., UK, stuff like that. So you'll see. The primary marketplace, like I said, it'll repeat that. But at this point, it's asking you for prices. Now, pricing your book is very important because even though you're printing through KDP and they're selling your book online and you're getting copies for yourself, they're called author copies. You'll get them, let's say, for example, okay, let me describe this book. Let's say you got this book here. This book's going to cost you about $3.50 after shipping. It's, roughly 80 pages, maybe 100. Might be $4 each, but that's the price that you get because you're the author. You don't upload it and then buy it at the regular price. So this thing's cost, like I said, it could be $3.50 to $4. So what you want to do is figure out, okay, I'm getting author copies. I'm going to go places and sell them. So when you go places to sell them, chances are, let's say you go to an art festival and you want to be an author at the art festival, and you say, okay, I got to sell my books. Well, it costs you, let's say you spent $100 to $150 to get that booth space. You want that money back. You don't want to sell your books for $5. It costs you $4 to get the book. You just made $1 per book. Chances are you're going to sell 20 to 50 copies of your book at each show. Some you might sell 500, some you might sell 3. So I've been to them all. So you got to sit down and go, okay, what you want to maximize the thing. So you go, okay, I got, $4 invested. I'm going to have travel expenses, hotel possibly. Okay, I'm going to sell the book for about $12. That way I'm making $8 per book. You think, oh boy, that's a whole lot of money I'm making per book. No, it's not really, because you don't know what you're going to sell. I mean, it'll balance itself out. The weaker shows versus the higher paying shows, they'll balance out. So it's good to set that high of a price point. Plus, if you go into like a local store and say, hey, will you carry my book, please? And they say, yes, we'd love to carry your book. Chances are they're going to go, we want 40 to 50%. So you have to have it a little bit higher because let's say Bob's bookstore says, we'll take your book. How much do you sell it for? We'll say $12. Okay. Or no, let's make it cheaper. Say, well, $8 because I only want to make $4 a book. It'll sell more if I keep it a lower price. Okay. Bob's is going to say, okay, we want 50% for putting it in my store. So you sell that book for $8. Now you got $4 per book. Well, it costs you $4 to make it. So it costs you gas and your time and your effort. So you're basically giving your book away for free. Even though people are buying it and people are making money, it's just not you. So you go, okay, I'm going to make it $12. Well, now you're getting $4 a book because after your investment and after your... So I don't know if you can hear that. That's why I got the earbuds on this time. So I got some noises going on, but hopefully this eliminates it. But anyways, yeah, so you're getting $4 a book now. And let's say you sell 20 of them. Well, you just made $80. That's not a bad deal for sitting in a place for 6 hours and selling your books. Hey, not bad, especially as an artist trying to get out there. Okay, just a little bit of information for you. Okay, but I'm bringing that up because this is where you set your pricing. You tell Amazon, hey, this is how I want my prices to be. And when they sell your book, they're asking you, okay, if it's $12, we have royalty pricing. There's the regular royalty pricing, and there's expanded distribution. You really want to work with expanded distribution because if you just go with royalties, you'll get a higher amount from Amazon when they sell your stuff because they'll sell it for 12, but you won't get that 12. You'll get like $7 of it because they want to make their money too by distributing your product. And but expanded distribution, what that is you get a lower amount when they sell your books. And you think, oh man, I don't want a lower amount. I just want to, sell my books, get as much as I can. But expanded distribution, what that does is Amazon says, okay, we're going to work with a big bookstore, and the big bookstore will they'll get a hold and say, hey, we've heard about this author. We want to carry that book in our store. We want a discount. And Amazon says, well, we're barely getting 30% for selling their books through us. So we want that 30% still, but we'll give you do another 20%. So the bookstore wants to carry it, so they're getting money from Amazon, which they know they're going to make money off Amazon. It's expanding the market for you, and it's just a good practice. I'd stick with that. And if you disagree, write me, and I'll talk about it next show, and that's fine. And oh, if you get a chance, press the like button, share the video. I'm trying to help authors. If it's not your bag, that's fine. But if you know somebody is, share the video with them. But maybe this will help. Maybe they're into this already, and something I say helps out a little bit. And if they have some information, they can correct me, and I'll grow, and that's fine. Okay. Now the final thing, because that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And so now it'll say, okay, do you want to request a proof? Because you can request a proof, and that's fine. You can do that, and they'll send you a proof. You approve it, then and once you approve it, boom, it starts. It goes online, and now you can order your author copies. And you think, wow, that's really great. I'm going to do that. I, as a rule, tend not to use a proof copy because they charge you a little bit more, and then they're shipping. So it's like, if I order a proof copy, it's like $4. But if I order, not a proof copy, if I order a regular, because this is the thing on KDP, you can order one book at a time. You can order that book, and you look at it. When you're a newer author, even one who's been around a while like me, it's like, unless you're promoting it heavy, saying on this date this is coming out, you can just put it up there and put it out, and nobody will know it's there till you go out and start promoting it. So what I do is I hold off on my promotion a little bit, order the proof copy, because it might be like $15 for the proof copy. It's like, I don't spend $15. I'll save $10 and just order the regular copy and call it my proof copy, approve it, and then send it along. But chances are, in the proofing process, when you're approving the PDF, it's already good. So, I mean, you're not really taking a big risk there. And the beautiful thing about being, this is a good point, a beautiful thing about being an author, a newer author without a team of, people behind you, is that if you go out and let's say you print 50 copies of your book, you hit a couple art shows, you sell the books or whatever, and somebody comes up to you and says, on page 53, this thing is off. You can go, oh, wow. You can go in and change that file, re-upload it to Amazon, and it's usually good the next couple days. So then you can order more. Basically, your book gets edited. And I'm not saying this is the way to do it. I mean, you should have a book edited as much as you can. But you know what? We're all human beings. I've seen it in professionally edited books by major publishers. I find a flaw in it, So, but you're doing short orders. You're not ordering like 10,000 books. You only have to order 50. I mean, KDP's great like that. So it's like, okay, I'll order 200. Well, those first 200 might have a couple flaws, but by the time after a year, I mean, you're correcting things as people point them out, and it happens very rarely. I mean, I have an editor. I use Grammarly, like I've said, and but once in a while you get that. So it's like, oh, quick little fix, and nobody's the wiser, except for me and you. That's our little secret. Uh, all right, now I'm gonna. I held up this book earlier. I'm gonna do my shameless plug. This was the first book I've ever written. I created it back in like 2009. It's called Tales of Wordishire. I started out writing children's books, and it's a great little book I had a lot of fun with. I did some art. I did a lot of the artwork on it. I had a girl named Mariah Anderson help me with a couple of the drawings, and this was the one that was done through uh, Outskirts Press. This is the actual copy from Outskirts Press. So this is the original first copy I ever got of this book. Now, since then, I've left Outskirts Press, created McArt Productions, and you'll see like my 15 books and 5 games and all this other things. They're all McArt Productions. So this copy is very rare. There's not too many copies of it floating around out there because I immediately figured out, hey, I know how to do stuff. I'll just do it myself. And that's when I joined Lightning Source and then eventually KDP. So, but it's a children's book, Tales of Wordishire, a book of Christian bedtime stories. I had a lot of fun with it. I got to meet a lot of people, and it made the desire in me to get out and be an author. And I still have a lot of fun with it today. The beautiful thing about writing books, and a lot of people don't think about this when they start doing this. I wrote a book in 2009, which is this. I've been selling it every year. So this book, even though it took me about 8-9 months to write it and illustrate it, I'm still making money off of it, and I probably will till I drop. So you can't beat that. That's the wonderful thing about sticking with it. If you're going to do this, go in it for the long haul. Because if you create a book, you sell it for a couple of years, and you go, oh, I'm just not selling that much. No, keep writing, keep selling, keep getting your stuff out there, because it builds and builds and builds. Let's say I make $500 a year on this book, and you're like, man, $500 a year, that ain't nothing. Man, I've been doing it for, you know, what's it like, 14 years now, 15? And let's say I sold $500 a year with this. That's, well, 15 times 500. But that's just one book. I've got 15 books. So every year I go out and I sell my books, and these prices add up, and it's like, it's a pretty good little income, nice little side income. So if you like that, check it out. 7 stories in my Tales of Wordishire book. It's The World of Wordishire, where God's Word is sure. And a lot of fun. I got 2 sequels to it. Check out my website at micartproductions.com. And that's it. I hope everything I told you was helpful. We'll try to jump into some other stuff for the next show, but have fun.